Could it be that Ukraine is winning the war? Did Putin seriously miscalculate? There are reports out today that Putin believes he was misled by his own military, his mistrust in leadership causing tension within his Ministry of Defense. Russia's godfather thought he'd swiftly get rid of Zelensky's government, divide NATO, face little to no significant resistance, and that the power and might of Russian forces would cripple Ukraine quickly. But it hasn't. So is Putin using peace negotiations to recover and buy time? Joining me now is former Zelensky spokesperson, Luliia Mendel. Thank you for joining us again. Luliia, so this whole idea of Russia says that they're pulling back, yet it looks like the palms keep falling. What is this? What is this all about? And please weigh in on this report that Vladimir Putin and his chief defense or his chief military person are at odds right now over what they found when they went into Ukraine.
Eric, actually, yes, I think Russia is losing. And Ukraine is pretty aware that Ukraine is negotiating with the country terrorists. And it's very difficult, but we don't have any other choice than to keep negotiating. But the biggest negotiator in all this situation is, of course, the Ukrainian army that actually saved Ukraine up to now. There was a huge underestimation of the situation by the whole world. The Western intelligence was thinking that Russia will invade Ukraine in 48 hours. Germany, as it was spread the other day, thought that Ukraine will lose in few hours. And Ukraine never thought that Russia could make such a devastating and large-scale war in civilized world today. So, we are negotiating with the terrorists, and we don't believe anything that they are saying. But they are really retreating, and they are trying, because they are losing the war these days.
So, Luliia, there's a report, a couple of people today had a report saying that the United States had approached Zelensky early on and maybe more than once to negotiate and actually give and deal and give up some land to Putin, and Zelensky said no. Now, you are a former spokesperson for Zelensky. I assume you still talk to him, you still have contact with him. Do you know this to be true?
Eric, there are a lot of rumors, and these rumors need to have really very confident proof before we try to share that. I'm sure that Volodymyr Zelensky had a lot of negotiations, and there are a lot of scenarios that he discusses with different leaders, but Ukraine is very stable on the position that we are not giving up our lands. And Zelensky has a lot of things, has a lot of power right now to dictate Russia what Russia needs to do. And Russia is agreeing for many positions because Russia also underestimated itself. Russia thought that we would give up, but right now it's the 35th day, and Russian soldiers here are hungry, without fuel, they are losing, they're being killed, they're being shot, they are demoralized. And that's why Volodymyr Zelensky wants Russia to go to the position where it used to be before 24th of February, before it started this large-scale, devastating and brutal invasion of the country.
Yeah, yes, and I agree with you. I think everyone is surprised. We're pleasantly surprised, if you can be, in a situation like this, that Ukraine is holding your own. We're seeing all this devastation in Mariupol and some of the other cities, and yet we're hearing that the Russians are pulling back away from Kyiv, hopefully permanently, but maybe to reload. I just want to, I got to ask you one more time, Luliia. I just want to, do you know anything, do any of the members of parliament know that the United States was leaning or pushing Zelensky to cut a deal with Putin so that to end the war quickly, turning over some land? Do you know anything about that? Have you heard that before?
I know definitely that it's impossible to push or to press Volodymyr Zelensky for any leader of the country, that he is the one to take all the decisions because he is the one who is responsible for moving forward to achieve the peace these days. Of course, we are looking forward to try to negotiate with Vladimir Putin, but hopefully this war will last for a month or two in general, with active period of 2 weeks. This is our hope today.
Okay. Okay. And one final thought, we have a report, and I'm wondering if you've heard the same thing being in Ukraine, that there, for the first time, I believe a Ukrainian rocket landed inside of Russia. So that would look almost like an offensive, in other words, is the tide turning? Is there some sort of offensive movement by the Ukrainian army that you're seeing or hearing?
I'm sorry, do you mean Belgorod? Because you were interrupted.
Okay, I'm sorry. I said we had reports of a Ukrainian rocket landing inside Russia, on the Russian land. Have you heard of that? Is this a change in strategy? Is this a change in the face of the war?
Look, this report was made yesterday, and it was not made by very reliable journalists. We saw that something happened in Belgorod, and even pro-Kremlin Russian media never proved that that was a Ukrainian missile. Though we thought that Russia could use it to accuse Ukraine in provocation and to make the escalation larger, to escalate the situation. So this has not been proved by any source, any official source, and that even has not been used by pro-Kremlin Russian propaganda.
All right, Yulia, thank you so much. Please, we wish you very much safety. Stay safe and stay out of harm's way, Yulia. Thank you for joining us. We'll have you back again soon. Thank you.